Welcome back to the Market Day Report. Janet Atkinson here with you. And as promised, we now turn our attention over to the livestock markets. And before we reveal what's going on in the livestock mercantile exchange or on the mercantile exchange, we're going to check in with Ed Serwin. He, of course, on location in Texas with the latest on what's taking place in the cattle market in the Southern Plains. Ed, how are you doing today?
Very good, Janet.
Well, glad to hear that. And let's go ahead and jump on into the numbers. How are the markets this week as far as the Southern Plains are concerned?
Well, as everybody would probably understand after watching that Chicago Mercantile Exchange drop in the last week, the feeder cattle market is pretty much $2 to $10 lower, and the receipts have really dropped off as everybody's kind of watching to see what's going to happen. In fact, those auctions early in the week, Janet, they were $2 to $7 lower, and those midweek auctions, they were $5 to $10 lower, instances up to 13. So the thing got tougher as the week progressed. Those 500 to 600 pound steers traded at $243 to $271, and they were a good $10 to $13 lower on the top end there. And those 7 to 750 weight steers traded at $218 to $226, and they were roughly 10 lower. Those bigger steers, the 8 to 850s at $206 to $215, they pretty much follow right in line there. And when you take a look at the heifers, the 500 to 600 pound heifers at $229 to $249, and those bigger heifers, the 700 to 800 pounders at $193 to $211. And I want to tell your viewers and listeners that there are some higher prices than the top end of this that were quoted over the weekend, but they're not available anymore yet this week. And that's about it for this week, Janet.
Sounds like so when they dropped, they dropped. Well, Ed, before I let you go, how are things in your part of the Lone Star State? I know you're around Amarillo for the most part.
Yes, and we've had decent rain here earlier. We need a rain now, but at least we've got the greenest grass that we've seen in a long time, and a lot of people are very conservative and cautious. They're wanting this grass to seed out, to kind of reseed itself a little bit after the big drought that we have the last 4 years.
Sounds like you guys are still coming back, but still have a long way to go.
Yes, that's correct, but we're very thankful to the good Lord that we got some decent rain this summer.
All right. Well, thank you very much again, Ed Serwin, cattle market analyst down to the Southern Plains, based around Amarillo, Texas. Let's go ahead and take another look back at the mercantile exchange and the live cattle trade that's underway right now. We've got the August up 75 cents. That's $148.97. October down 2 pennies. That's at $146.52. And December live cattle 27 to the upside. That's at $149.02. Turning our attention over to the feeder cattle side of the complex, we've got the nearby August 42 cents to the upside, now up 35 cents. At $214.72, September down 55 at $213, and October 35 cents lower at $212.35. Again, as far as the cash cattle trade, just some numbers out of Nebraska so far this week, coming in at $155. Right now, mostly asking prices is what we've got to talk about there. Over into the hog markets. As far as the hog markets are concerned, certainly some downside activity taking place there. We highlighted the October contract earlier, limit down, saw some limit down movement in that October contract. In fact, yesterday, and then it moved higher at the closing bell. So we've got just a bit of trade left. So we'll see if that maybe is a repeat activity today. Again, the October down $3 at $94.40. December down $2.55 at $85.65. February down $2.92. Well, that's a rundown of what's taking place in the markets. Don't go away. We've got more coming up for you next on the Market Day Report.
From marketing to management to meeting and greeting fellow pork producers, the World Pork Expo is a preeminent trade show for pork producers worldwide. That expo kicks off June 4th and runs through the 6th in Des Moines, Iowa. We spoke by phone with Dr. Howard Hill, president of the National Pork Producers Council, about the benefits of this year's expo.
This year, animal health is going to be a very high priority. We're going to have special seminars on PED for producers. And of course, the trade show itself is a display of the newest and most up-to-date technology that suppliers and the allied industry has for producers. That's everything from equipment to genetics to nutrition. Plus, we have the junior pig show too. Last year, I think we had 678 juniors show, and then they showed about 1,600 pigs, and our numbers are even greater this year. So that's a very strong program, and of course we encourage that because getting the juniors involved is important because they're the leaders of our our industry in the future. So we're big supporters of that. The other thing I might also mention is that for our strategic investment partners on Thursday, we're going to have an opportunity to hear our Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack. He'll be talking about the Department of Agriculture's, USDA's announcement of having PED be a reportable disease. So there's just a lot for producers to participate in.
That's Howard Hill, president of the National Pork Producers Council. Well, the PED virus has had a dramatic impact on the nation's hog numbers and on the livelihoods of pork producers. Dr. Rodney Baker with the Pork Industry Center at our land-grant partner at Iowa State University tells us about the testing being done to slow and hopefully eliminate this deadly disease.
We do have a vaccine that came on the market recently, was approved on an emergency basis. We don't know, that's Harris Vaccines. That vaccine is being used primarily in herd breaks, trying to slow the virus down and build herd immunity quicker so we can get the virus. Most of the veterinarians in the field are doing this. They're closing these farms, expose everybody on the farm as quickly as possible, and then they don't bring any replacements in. And in about 150 days or so, they'll bring in negative animals as sentinels to see if they've eliminated the virus. We generally think most of those farms will have immunity, and that the virus will have far less impact this next 12 months compared to the last 12 months. But, this is all new, and so we really, we don't have a crystal ball to help us, see what the future is going to hold. But I suspect we'll have, it'll be less dynamic, less impact in the next 12 months, but still going to be there, and it's still going to cause a lot of problems. What we have now is best at as a booster and improving the immunity in a herd that's already been infected, although they do say that the vaccine will produce some primary immunity and give the pigs some protection from an initial break. So I don't know how much of that vaccine they've sold, but I suspect it's been a lot.
That's Dr. Rodney Baker, the director of the Pork Industry Center at our land-grant partner, Iowa State University. Now, we have a special place on our website for all things related to the PED virus. Just go to RFD-TV.com/PEDV. We'll be right back with more of the Market Day Report right after this.